we're at a time now when the naked lickspittle enablement of Donald Trump by his evangelical followers is more horribly obvious than ever. Franklin Graham, his big supporter, told him to call a national day of prayer. And of course, we know Trump would never do this by himself. We have all the pieces that you played of people trying to cash in on this, to push their anti-gay homophobia. And we also see that the magical thinking for evangelicals that allows them, for instance, to deny climate change, to deny scientific evidence on gay people being born that way, to deny so many things that we know from any common sense point of view, let alone a scientific point of view, are true. They have been nurtured from birth to accept alternative facts. They are perfect dupes for someone who calls everything fake news that he doesn't agree with. So when we come to this time of COVID-19 overtaking our country, a literal life and death issue, we see two things very clearly, Joy. One is the utter moral bankruptcy of this leader who pits himself against governors trying to save their people, as you had in your last segment. And the second is the utter moral bankruptcy of evangelicals, the white evangelical voter, having rented out Jesus to this moronic monster who, in this time of crisis, far from being our Winston Churchill leading us to freedom against the Axis in Germany and others, basically tells people my age, those pushing their 70s, that we might as well do what the Jews did in World War II, that the Nazis told them to do. Put on a yellow star, identify yourself as old, forget care for you guys. We're not going to make more respirators, especially not for governors that we don't like. Just go off and die so the stock exchange numbers go up and I look good. And the fact of the matter is that is not an exaggeration. We have Republican governors. We have people who are in positions of power and Donald Trump trying to push a business as usual agenda. And instead of evangelicals standing up and saying, wait a minute, we bought into your candidacy because you're supposed to be the quote unquote pro-life president. We have now a pro-death president who would rather have his economic numbers go up chasing a 2020 re-election than save lives. And the evangelicals are going along with it and giving him cover. This whole Easter nonsense was just simply more currying favor with that base. A footnote maybe, but very telling.
Before one thinks that this is simply, one man's sort of opinion, there is a New York Times piece that says the religious right's hostility to science is crippling our coronavirus response. It reads, today, the hardcore of climate deniers is concentrated among people identified as religiously conservative Republicans. Its denial of science and critical thinking among religious ultra-conservatives now haunts the American response to the coronavirus crisis. And